either they're keeping their support pocketed, or we're gonna see a Puck 4 here coming out from MY with the Disruptor 5, which is still a possibility. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, support Puck Mars as a lane just doesn't sound amazing. I think you're still fine with Ember Spirit mid versus your Puck, but they do prioritize the Jug. I think they just want a hero that can kind of handle the Darkseer lane. You've got the spin to at least avoid the damage and shove the lane back in case it is shoved in, and the Jug is one of the only heroes to kind of get that done there.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree with that. Like, they just want to try and get rid of that Iron Shield creep. And the Jug obviously has its own free reset with the Healing Ward. Interestingly enough, so far, TB hasn't been banned. We kind of go over this every time, but they do get rid of the Ursa, which is a nice counter towards the Juggernaut. I think if you're Execration and TB's left alone, you're probably just going to want to take it. Does feel like a pretty nice pickup into the Jug. Maybe not so much fun though to play up against the Mars. In all fairness, in the off lane, it could be a little bit detrimental for him. And there is quite a bit of silence that can be kind of annoying for the TB. But in terms of POS 1 versus POS 1, it does feel like the TB is still going to have an extremely good time when it's against the Juggernaut, if it's left alone for MY.
Yeah.
And
they ban out TB instead, so it is open. You can still take the TB. Grimstroke's banned out here. They're expecting the Puck to stay mid, so MY still going to have to close out with the support. The Phoenix you mentioned could still slot in. You could run Disruptor 5 Phoenix 4. Phoenix Mars lane doesn't sound great, though. I mean, it can work. Spear into the damage coming through from the Phoenix is there, but you're not going to have the control lane. You will have more damage. They could still go for the Lion pick. It will give them more hold against the Ember Spirit. If they're worried about just catching him out, Blink Hex is available, and a Lion Mars lane is still really good, but that was also banned out by Execration. So, limited options for MY. Phoenix, I guess, could work if you really want more team fight. The Rubik you mentioned as well, great spells to steal. Could work out for MY if they want it. Fairly open. But yeah, they're already showing all the cards here, and they go with the Enchantress instead. So Enchantress Mars lane or Enchantress Disruptor lane, and Enchantress Jug on the Enchantress 5. That's one way to handle it. You have a lot of sustain coming out from MY. You've got a fairly disruptive POS 5, POS 4 here in the Ench. You can kind of play around by blocking the jungle. We have seen some Enchantresses do that. Grab a creep, just have it AFK in jungle every minute to ensure that the camps don't get stacked up, and that will put a dent in MY's farming pace. So that in Execration's farming pace. So we'll see if MY prioritizes that, but it's not quite the way I expected their draft to close out. It still does enough work. Like, we have seen a lot of Enchantresses really secure lanes for their cores. It's just down to actually getting that executed for MY.
They seem to be focusing a lot on the Darkseer, right? Like, the enchant purges off the Surge as well. I guess it's pretty good against the Ember as well for the Flame Guard. Certainly not what I expected either, but if they wanted to run the Jug Enchantress, like, enchant into spin is quite strong to boot. Nice little combination there. You can't really surge away. Like, they'll just wait for the surge to pop, and then you just enchant, and then it's suddenly purged. So I think MY just really want to make sure they have strong lanes, and quite frankly, if it's Jug Enchantress plus Mars Disruptor offlane, they are very strong lanes. Very annoying to deal with here for Execration. They do still require a POS 1. If you do have a Mars Disruptor, you may not want a Terrorblade because it's a lot of magic damage. It's very hard to actually get anything done as the TB in that laning phase. Yes, you have an Abaddon, but it's not too fun. And they are going to go for the Morphling instead, which is a much safer option in some way. Morphling, though, it does feel, slightly weak right now in terms of being a carry, but there's no real direct counters towards it this game. So it might just have a nice free kind of game here.
Yeah, I mean, in lane, Morphling plus Abaddon's pretty good because you just drop your HP, full Agimorph, get the heal from Abaddon, and your percent HP goes up, and you just swap back a little bit more strength, so you feel good. Paolo should be able to hold that lane regardless, as long as he plays smart enough in the first 3 levels. Level 1, level 2 is where Morphling feels pretty off, and you have to watch your pacing, your spacing, because if they do go for the Glimpse plays into Spear, that could be one way to set up there for MOI. Still, Execration, does feel like they came out with a better draft. I think the Morphling, as you mentioned, there isn't a big answer from MY beyond Static Storm. And even then, Morphling, if he really feels the need to, could just buy a BKB, go for maybe, say, a right-click BKB build, and just kind of focus in that way. Of course, MY could maybe look for a Diffusal build on Jug, be more aggressive, burn the mana of Palos, prevent him from having the mana to shift around. And that could be one way as well. Just, it doesn't feel like a great response on the Jug's end, so we'll just have to see. But I think Execration has managed to really get themselves some big win conditions and some great timings to hit here.
Yeah, I think for MY, it's going to be a lot about just trying to win out these lanes in a very big way. Like, you can't really... I don't think they can afford to even out the lanes. It's got to be a big win during the laning stage here to try and really set a pace that maybe the side of Execration can't keep up with. Nevertheless, we are going to head into Game 2 in just a moment. Of course, MY, if they can't force this to a Game 3, they are going to be knocked out of the qualifiers, and Execration will qualify. And if they can force it to a Game 3, then we'll be basically saying the same thing next game. So let's head off into the game and see how this one pans out. Execration, they were looking very strong during Game 1. Very, very solid. And they have been a bit up and down over the past few days that we've been casting these close qualifiers. But they've started off on a good foot. So I'm kind of curious as to if they can just kind of keep it up during this series.
Yep. We are seeing Bob on the Ember. And so it's not as much of a win condition for him. The win condition has shifted towards Palos more. Bob just needs to hit his item spikes, probably looking at the same thing. Orb of Corrosion into either the Phase Boots or Urn with Brown Boots. So it's either build for the Ember we've seen pop off, and then you just get active. You buy that space for the Morphling, you get big. Palos will need to show us how well he can build up on a Morph, how well he can really farm up. And for MY's end, there's a lot of emphasis here in team fights. Like, they need to hit level 6 on their Support Disruptor fairly quick for Leonak, get that Static Storm ready, and then start running around with the Dream Coil Arena. Maybe wait for the blink on Seri if it feels necessary, the blink or Yules on the Mars. And from there, you just go running. Like, the Puck probably going to have to go for the 2 nulls, maybe the Witchblade as well, before everything really starts to line up. But the ramp up for MY on these 4 heroes is a lot shorter. Even the Jug doesn't take as much. And Bob.
Oh, goodness me. Bit of toilet humor going on between these two, apparently. Bob and Seri, a toilet love story we've got here between these two. Not 100% sure what's going on. And what is Seri doing in the toilet? Only God knows. Let's hope we never find out.
I'm sure it's all just the usual biological processes of humans that needs to be processed in the sewage. It's
What's
fine.
that, John?
He is human. The human biological processes of dumping solids or liquid waste out of the
It's a
body.
very corporate way of saying it, isn't it, Jonathan? It's almost like you work for a PR team for some big corporation.
I try to keep it clean,
very
right?
good.
That's the cleanest I can make it sound.
That was very good. I'll give it to you. I mean, I don't compliment you too often on your language, John, but that was very good indeed. BDZ in chat is going to be there. Spin is out as well. KNP is going to try and rush forward, but they have to be careful because now the turnaround, a double impale out. BDZ still on the run. The salve. It's going to save the day for now. He's still on the run. Tigger, 2 more hits would do it. He needs 1 more uphill. He's going to get it. Luck is going to be in his favor. First Blood is going to go the way of MY. BDZ, he's going to be 1 salve short and even 1 TP short, as he will have to TP back into the lane now.
Yeah, it's a nice set of moves coming out from MY. BDZ just kind of poking his head a bit too far forward. He will at least have a backup salve to have in the lane, so he's not going to feel too bad. But that lane is going to be a bit tight. It is the Jug Disruptor lane instead, so there's a lot of magic damage here to punish, say, the run-ups with the Ion Shell, but you can't underestimate just how much can fly out with an Ion Shell and stun. Like, KNP, early levels in the spin are very costly on mana and fairly long on cooldown, so he's going to have to balance his spell use here quite a fair bit to ensure that he finds that farm, and Leonak's going to have to really be on point with the harassment with a Thunder Strike to keep BDZ as far away as possible from his core.
Interesting that they chose to run the POS 4 Enchantress rather than the POS 5 here. I thought they would really go for the enchant on the Surge, but that's not going to be the case. See if it does pay off. I mean, the glimpse is still going to be there, probably the level 2 mark here for Leonak. We'll see if it is quite as effective as... We'll have a look at the other lanes as well. Mid lane, BB going to be there against Bob. Last lane around last game, BB, he had a very tough time. Obviously looking for a bit of redemption in this game too on this puck. Do you think he has the advantage against the Ember, or do you expect Bob to take over again?
I think we've seen Embers kind of eke out that lane against pucks before, simply because they can harass a lot better with a sleight of fist and stay safe. The wave clear from Flame Guard is a bit more consistent over the orb, although down bot.
Yeah, Palos, he's getting aggressive now after a pretty shocking start to the lane. Tigger is going to try and secure the kill. More strength morphing here from Palos. Another impetus shot. Won't be enough, but they've got the spear up, so Palos does have to be relatively careful. Looks like he is going to remain safe.
Yeah, and it's the power of Abaddon plus Morphling. Like right now, you're not seeing Palos drop his HP with the full Agimorph as he's still trying to farm the wave. But once he has that opportunity to do so, you just drop down your HP and get the Mist Coil out. You get a good chunk of HP back, and you have more to play with. So it's really just stable for Palos. Look at that. It's like a lot of HP just because it's going to scale and percent-wise as well. And with the Enchantress, you're kind of forced to go out early. Tigger's going mid.
That he is, and Bob, I mean, they wanted to secure this lane this time around. Bob, he's going to try and survive a little bit longer and actually might make it, but no, the impetus shot is there from Tigger. He tried absolutely everything to make sure he would stay alive on the Ember, but Tigger, great rotation on the Enchantress, already hitting level 3 now. And quite frankly, Tigger could just keep doing that over and over again if he really wants his top lane. They are going to make a rotation onto BDZ now, and Raging is also going to die to KMP, who does get a double.
You should be honored.
Yeah, you don't want to feed those kills away. And again, you had to watch for when the spin's committed, when the control is there for MY. They did opt for the kinetic field at level 2 from Leonak instead. I don't mind that. Like, there's no mobility spells beyond Surge. If you can just lock them in, keep the spin up on KNP, you're still going to find kills. And you have to be careful when you TP in. Glimpse just came up for Leonak. He just hit level 3. So Raging's going to be forced to run back to that lane.
He will be. I mean, he has... Oh, he actually doesn't have Surge at all. That's a little bit unfortunate there for Raging. He's going to have to really walk slowly. Very unfortunate stuff. This is going to allow KMP to continue the good farm up on this Shug. And we talked about it in the draft, but you really do want to dominate these lanes. And as I say that, BB, he's being chased down. But now Bob, he's overextended again. Tigger, he just won't leave the man alone.
Yeah, it goes back to his skill build here for Bob. He only opted for 1 level Flame Guard, so it burns down really fast. Only absorbs 80 damage, magic damage, and once it's gone, he's just super vulnerable to the spellcast of BB. So he opted for the Sleight of Fist build, is being punished nicely by the side of MY, and MY off to a very clean start, 0-5. Just taking control in every lane. The aggression we were expecting from Execration, especially in that off lane with Raging and BDZ, it's just not coming out.
Not yet. I mean, I say not yet. It's quite late for it to start happening now. Raging, he didn't opt for anything like the Soul Ring kind of build-up. He has gone for the what looks to be the triple null talismans. He has 1 more to go. That can be quite effective as well. Tigger, he's going to show up at the top lane now. BDZ, he'll go for a bit of a chase, and with the Iron Shells, perhaps they could set up as BB apparently dies mid lane. And immediately, Bob will give the tips out. And you know Bob wasn't happy about those last 2 deaths. He'll give it back the way of BB. Though he misses the range creep, so a little bit embarrassing there, Bob, as I switch the camera over.
It doesn't matter. Bob's satisfied enough with taking the puck out. Still taking the lead in CS as well. The rotation's coming out, and Tigger's kind of surrounded by 3 heroes if Bob wants to run up here.
Yeah, Bob. Is he going to make his way up? Looks like he is. They do get the Impel off as well. Nice glimpse back on BDZ. So instead, Bob, he'll go for the easier target. But there's your enchant out. And a Phonic Shield is going to be there. But RR looks to die to Tigger, it looks like, as he does drop. And Leonak, he's still alive. Not for long, though. BB now, he's going to show up. He does have the Dream Coil available if he wants to throw it out, and does. And now they've locked down Bob, but Bob's not done yet. He's on a Tigger. Raging. He'll keep the chase up on the enchanters. Now Bob's going to try and make a run out, but the orb is back up and available, but it does not connect. Bob's still going. Raging Potato does end up getting Tigger, but now BB, he does secure the kill onto Bob.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
No tips though from BB. He's been very, very calm about the tipping.
Yeah, I think he's still really happy about how that entire affair went, though. They get the core kill, they drop it for 2-3. You're still better off. They managed to snag the bounty rune as well, and they're forcing the supports to focus top. So they've left the solo lane for Palos, who can manage it at level 6 in the Morph, but at the same time, the Mars is still having a better time. Seri is up ahead in CS. He's going to hit his timings into his first early items fast, probably a fast Blink or the fast Yules after the phase boots, and that's when it gets scary. That's when the team fight starts to really pop off for MY, and just giving the Mars this kind of free space isn't going to help the cause for Execration here.
Tigger again going to rotate onto BD. My god, that's a lot of damage. That impetus shot, level 2 now, does do quite a bit of damage. BDZ, he decided not to go for the Spike Carapace to return the damage back.
Top tower is under attack.
So MY off to a great start in this game number 2. Execration, they've got some catching up to do. Of course, their power spikes are quite different on the side of Execration. Like, you're looking for that Aghanim Scepter on Raging before you really can get active on this Darkseer. And speaking of Raging, he's going to try and surge, but there's your glimpse back into the kinetic field. And he is probably just going to die. He'll try and make his way out with the Aphotic Shield, but there's your spin up from KMP. No games, and Tigger, he's going to take the kill on the Enchantress.
Just big kills across the map. The tri-lane commitment from Execration hasn't really been paying off. They're just dropping that lane entirely, and you see KNP, he's actually going for the butter.
Oh, mid lane, Bob. Oh, Remnant away. Still in trouble. They'll try to heal him up. Aphotic Shield is out. Bob, Remnant is there, but no mana for it. He'll try to heal up in time. And he is going to make it out, as now BB's going to be the one to drop to Bob. The illusion's got him. Tigger now, he's going to try and run, but they are on the chase, and they will eventually get him down with the chains. BDZ has an impale in 1. They'll vacuum back, but now the arena's there. Bob, he's in danger again. He'll try to back, but no. They do catch him out. BDZ does at least kill off Tigger, but it's a bloodbath in the mid lane. Raging's gone as well. He should be able to run on the Abaddon, and he will make it out. But it is another favorable trade for the side of MY.
Yeah, they get a good early rotation out from KNP. They get the kills they want. Bob dropping, and it's just not good news. Like, you commit so much to try to kill off. You're stalling out your timings here for Bob. He is trying to take activity early with his leveled spikes, but he is reliant on Sleight of Fist, so he needs that Orb of Corrosion done. Looks like he has at least finished up that farm on it. So the physical damage output of the Ember at this point is pretty good. He just needs to kind of measure how far he can dive. As MY, they've got the 2k lead at right around the 9.5 minute mark almost. They're at a good pace to finish this battle for you in KNP. And it is a bit of a slower build for the Jug, but this will allow him to keep farm pace with a Morphling who's AFK jungle. So, in the long term, this investment for KNP into this Battle Fury means that even if the game stalls out, the Jug should at least be at item parity with a Morphling as long as he maintains his farm. Still up top, Bob is rotating.
He is. Leonak going to hide in the trace, and he's going to survive as KMP may get scouted out, but should still be fine to just spin away if Bob does engage, and he's not even going to throw the chains out anyway. While that was happening, though, mid lane, RR does drop to BB. So they found another Abaddon kill. They might want to try and punish this puck. Silence is there. He can't orb away, and they will blow him up. Very nice silence there from Palos. Does morph into the puck and get the waning rift off.
Yeah, you do have to watch for that. If they manage to get that good silence off, the combinations that follow through from Execration is pretty strong. Raging does manage to bail out up top as well. So he manages to at least avoid the potential kill coming through. MY not going to be too happy about dropping their puck as the mid lane opens up for a shove with Bob with the DD. They aren't in position to really fully defend just yet.
No, they aren't. BB is going to make his way in. Bob, he's right out of there as Palos. He's stuck around for that tier 1, but now he's going to find a way out. Seri going to get stunned up. Meanwhile, KMP drops at the top lane. They got the jug. Palos, though, he's been speared up, and they've got the Morphling down. So they trade 1 for 1 as Bob, he's stuck around. He has no mana left, but it won't matter. They won't be able to lock the Ember. Palos, it would have been a really nice team fight and a tier 1 mid tower had they gotten Palos out, but they didn't.
Yeah, looks like MY is going to be able to find that tier 1 trade mid. So overall, they don't lose too much map space. They kind of equalize it with a mid tier 1 for a tier 1. And I think overall, Execration can still count that as a win. KNP was worth a little bit more than Palos. So you do gain something more there, and you slow down that Battle Fury time. As long as the Battle Fury is kind of stalled out in the last item for a bit longer, you're fairly happy on Execration's end. KNP's farm isn't as fast as it can be. What is fast is his push potential. He's just lining up bot to shove it in. Raging Potato's also shoving at top, but it looks like it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade once more on those tier 1s.
Absolutely. BB. No chains out from Bob.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Tier 1s. The top tier 1 has been left alone for a bit, but eventually, of course, they are just going to go ahead and take it. It looks like even BD's, he might just get that job done. The rest of MY still a 3k net worth lead, and everything's just going really well for them. And KMP almost having that Battle Fury up now as well on the Jug, which, quite frankly, is a build we haven't seen in quite a while on the Juggernaut, but I mean, if you're allowed to farm it at a very nice rate, then why the hell not? KMP, he can kind of afford to be greedy here, as he had a very good laning stage.
Yeah, and it, again, helps them secure scaling into the late game. So he's always going to match the Morphling's farm. Morphling can clear out jungle surprisingly fast with his mobility and pure raw right-click damage on here. So Jug having this tool does mean that you're never going to fall behind on KNP, at least in theory, and he can kind of line up for the Ags build-up, line up for the Basher or the Butterfly or the Maelstrom Mjolnir down the line, and hit those spikes in a really good fashion. They are diving deep, though.
Yeah, they got a kill onto Leonak there. Raging actually the one to secure the kill with the Iron Shell. He's right across the map, though, at the bot lane, but he's going to feel quite nice about that. Still hasn't actually queued up the Aghanim Scepter on the Darkseer, so choosing to go for a more defensive build-up on the Darkseer, quite interesting, because they thought they were going to try and really abuse that Aghanim Scepter timing. Maybe he queues it up now, but he might take the time to finish up the pipe instead. I suppose we'll have to wait and see what he does decide on. But that Ags is really annoying to play against.
Yeah, I mean, having plus HP on the Iron Shell and having an Abaddon, that's a lot of burst HP that just flies through on top of everyone, and that would be really big. I think they will take her.
Yeah, gets enchanted. He'll get a taste of his own medicine now. Untouchable, it's going to make it a bit of a slower process, but it won't matter. They'll get him eventually. Looks like Palos will be one step further now to get in that S and Y up on the Morph, and he has actually taken over, at least for a split second, on the net worth graph. So him and KMP, they've been really back and forth in terms of that net worth graph. Just going first and second constantly.
Easy.
Still a very close game as BDZ now. He's being caught by the Dream Coil, and Seri is going to be making sure the coil does break. They do eventually get the Nyx Assassin to boot.
Yeah, nice pickup. Not the biggest kill, but you're accelerating BB's farm. He does want his blink up ASAP, and it's going to be fairly close, like maybe 1,000 gold away. So once the puck has that, more mobility to jump into the front line. You also have the blink up on Seri, so the Mars can initiate now as well with the arena very safely here for the side of MY. Execration, I think just going back to Raging, it feels like they do need a pipe. Like they need to mitigate the damage output of the puck, of the Jug spin, of the Disruptor with the Thunderstrike, and eventually the Static Storm. And once you kind of put a dent in that output in the team fights, you don't worry as much about being caught out. Because if you just live through some of those spells, you're going to have time to cast your own spells. And the Ags, I think, even if you get it late, it's always impactful. So the timing for it isn't as important for Raging Potato. As long as it eventually comes out, you're still going to have that insane heal combination with the Abaddon, as they do go for a smoke play. They've got the vac ready. They've got the wall.
Radiant's bottom
Bob
tower
is
is
pretty
under
set to get
attack.
some right-click damage off with a hammer and orb as well.
Well, they're going to run into Tigger and Seri. Seri's going to go for the God's Rebuke. He's kind of been left alone here. Execration, who are they looking for? They're going to go after BB, it looks like. Is now raging, stuck in the arena. They'll get the stun off. BB, though, a massive impel. BDZ, he gets two of them, and they do burst down. BB is now raging. He does finally drop on the Darkseer. The KMP, he's committed the Omni. He might need to back, but not before he gets RR. Still, Bob's going to move in onto Leonak. Here comes Palace and another Impale. Onto 3 heroes from BDZ, as now they'll really commit for the team fight. Tigger, he'll be in danger, but KMP, he's really getting to work. A triple kill on KMP, a double on Palace, a 3-for-3 trade altogether. And in terms of golden XP, it does just barely favor Execration.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, the cores you traded are favorable for Execration. You drop your offlane Darkseer for the mid puck, and that does give you more space to play with. You had Bob around for a lot of those kills, so he gets a lot of EXP, and Palace just cleans up on the Morphling. Same thing happens for MY. The KNP gets a couple of those kills under his belt, so he doesn't feel too bad about it, but you're still not seeing the net worth lead come out for KNP. What about Battle Fury? He is working towards the SNY Battle Fury build, so more fighting build on the Chug. Great stat resist, great attack speed coming out, just a lot of value in that one item slot. Is almost done, and that's the beauty of Chug with a Battle Fury. The farm is that much quicker. They do not have a big lead in MY against Binhang at 1k. They don't beat Easy's around though.
They've got BDZ now with the coil down. He'll try to spy Carapace, but obviously the spin of KMP, not going to mind the spy Carapace very much. So another kill for our Jug now. His 6th of the game, in fact. It's been a very, very good game for our Canon Pang. Top lane. BB playing around there with Bob on the Ember. It's like Bob's been trying to secure his own BKB. Is now top, or rather bot lane. Raging Potato, he's been caught out again. He is within that static storm, but he can still try to fight back against Leonak, who has been left behind. And on the right side, they even got Seri. And Leonak, he's going to try and buy himself a little bit of time, but Raging should be able to find him, and it does eventually get him. So, aggressive gank attempt from MY does not pay off.
No. And you're seeing the value of that pipe pickup on Raging. He's just not dying even after the static storm's committed. He just lives through long enough for the team to respond, so that item is paying off. He's even going for the full mech. So he wants that full defensibility. Oh.
He's in a bit of trouble. He's got another orb out, but he's running a little bit low on mana. He'll phase shift and orb away, and there's going to be no way to chase him down and lock him down, so they'll let him go. The net worth lead just remains at 1k now. MY still in the lead, but just barely. As things are taking a turn for the worst for MY.
Radiant structures.
I say that, things are still very, very good. It's a very even game. It just got to scare you a little bit that you are fighting into a Morphling, and you know, I've been talking a lot of crap about Morphling recently, John, but it is still Morphling. You know, he's still very strong as a carry if he's in the right hands.
Yeah, I think the only time the Morphling timings feel weird is when you're going Morphling versus Terrorblade, where on paper Morphling should be better, especially if he steals a Terrorblade form. It just never feels that way. Like the Terrorblade just feels like it overtakes. In this case, Morphling versus Jug does feel a lot more clear-cut for Morphling. And the Jug still has good scaling, especially again since KNP went for that Battle Fury build. But the Morphling just feels scarier earlier and just has much more burst output. They are going for a tier 2 tower trade. KNP trying to solo it himself, and it looks like he will get that done. The side of MY are smoked for the defense up top though.
But they are. Run right into Raging Potato as well. Raging. Spear is going to be there into the arena. He breaks the smoke for the team, but oh, he's still alive in fact. He gets a mech off, but he will eventually go down, and now Palos has been leashed up. Static Storm to drop. He can't get the spin off in time, but he does, just barely on the edges. Palos, he'll keep going now, but it looks like he wants to try and escape the fight. No, they're going to re-engage. Impale out onto the Enchantress. Tigger is still in danger, but is so darn tanky. He's just not going to die. In Execration, they are lacking some damages. Now Bob's been caught out. There goes RR on the Abaddon. Bob's trying to find a way out of this team fight. He does get to the low ground and Remnant's away, but Seri is still going to be on the chase on the Mars. And another double impel there from BDZ on the backside does slow them down. And it looks like they are going to lose the Nyx Assassin. So this time around, the team fight does go the way of MY, and they're going to try and start a Roshan.
they can clear it out. They've got the DD running on KNP. They've got Healing Ward. The Enchantress heal. They're not going to drop fast enough for that to be scary. Raging still has the back wall. It's gonna have to just be him, although they are clumped around a Rosh pit here.
Palos, he's trying to blow up Leonak, but he's not alone. Roshan's still dropping as well, but they're going to drop the wall now. Raging, he does get 2 in there. KMP is going to be scouted out with that Roshan. He's going to have to back to boot. Does not have Omni either. Still DD Rune active and a massive arena round onto 4 heroes, but can they capitalize? They're trying to fight back. A 4-man contribute there from Seri as they already find Bob on the Ember and he does not have buyback. Now Raging, dropping low. They'll fight over the Roshan though. Palos trying to get it done, but KMP, he does snatch it away and now the Static Storm to lock them in. The Strength Morph is there though. Palos, he might still be able to escape his BDZ. He's trying to burst down the puck. RR came back in. They will not be able to finish the job though. And MY, they got what they came for. They've got that Aegis on the jug.
That's big for the side of MY. They lose out the Roche Gold as it is a snatch, but it doesn't really matter when you find these big kills. Execration just falling flat in the execution right now. They're just kind of running in. They tried to start that fight with Palos. Not the hero that needs the front line there. I think it has to be Bob playing Poke and Raging Potato to follow through. With a bigger wall vac, the combination just didn't feel amazing there. They didn't have the follow-up stuns from BDZ as well, and they need that control. If they can lock in these heroes before the spin, before the Static Storm comes through, that's how you win those fights. And MY now, they suddenly have a 3k lead on their hands. They're feeling great. It's not a massive lead yet, and that farm gold is still fairly well distributed. I think the disparity really comes on how far behind Bob is in comparison to BB. But beyond that, Execration still has tools. They just need to line up their shots better. Like, their initiation is just being read by MY for the most part. They do have some tools on hand, though. BKB being up and Scotty being up could be a play.
Whale's there. They've got the puck, or maybe they don't. Orb to try and follow through with BB. Palos, can you lock him down? No, not quite. BB, even with a haste rune, it's going to make it that much easier for the puck to get away. Now mid lane, MY, they'll start forcing that mid through. They'll just leave it be. They'll go for a smoke.
Radiant's middle tower.
I think they'll have to head up top, right? Like, you've got BB hanging around that area already. He doesn't have the coil, but he still can get involved with his team. BDZ. Gonna get noticed. They do get a nice spear off onto that Nyx assassin, and they should get the kill. He does get a Yule Scepter off in time. Stick charges? No, they're not gonna be enough. They'll get the Nyx down. It's Bob, RR gonna be there. They'll try after the Abaddon instead, and Palos. Uh-oh. Well, KP rather. He's gonna lose the Aegis. That'll be 1 life. Can they get the secondary? I mean, the Yule Scepter, or rather, Ayaskadi is going to help out. Raging's been caught in the arena. They missed the spear, however, he just runs around in circles, but now the enchant is going to slow him right back down. It looks like Palos might have to back as his whole team is just dying around him. He'll go after Leonak. They do secure that kill, but it looks like that's about all they're going to get for now, unless they keep the chase up. Chan is there. Palos has a waveform in 1. We'll go back into the triangle and keep the farm up as KMP is also hanging around in that triangle. But he still has the Omni. He should be just fine to back off anyway with the spin TP if he really needs to. And that's exactly what he'll do.
Yeah, it's great trades again coming out for MY. It felt like it could have been a lot worse for Palos. He was under the Static Storm, but he's just way too durable up top though.
Yeah, chains out, but the phase shift is there. That'll ensure BB just gets himself out scot-free. As Execration now continuing to struggle in this game number 2. 5k net worth deficit. MY looking much stronger this time around in the secondary game. KMP, he's just starting to feel quite unstoppable. He's going to get to that point now where he gets that Eye of Skadi, and of course Palos won't really be able to stand there and man fight anymore.
Yeah, that's when it gets really tricky for the Morphling. It's his one big downside, and you can see MY just invading again.
Yeah, Seri, he tried for the arena but doesn't connect onto Raging. They'll try into RR, but Palos is going to intervene with a nice spin that'll waste the Static Storm, and Leonak, he is set to fall and does.
Oh, neutral.
Oh, of course it's a neutral creep. These things are getting so annoying in these games, just constantly interfering. As they go for the Enchantress now, Tigger. They'll be able to at least get the Enchantress.
Gotta love that deny. So it doesn't feel as great for Execration. They know the Static Storm and Arena's down. Not the longest cooldowns. They're probably not going to be able to really make use of that in a big way. Still, items are flying out. Palos does have the Crystallis coming in. He is rushing the Daedalus. So it is a right-click build, morph, no shotgun. Just focusing on the man fight against the Jug. And that is one way to kind of handle him. Just rip right through him in the spin. You can see KNP, though, having that wave way far out here by himself.
He's going to be alright.
As
As long as you've got that spin TP, you know you're going to be fine. There's nothing to go through it. Execration, they don't really seem to be in the mood to try anything funny right now anyway. They are still just trying to secure more farm. Try and transition to that late game of the game, but I mean, I have Skadi again going to be up on KMP very soon, and that's going to make it rather difficult. Big group up here as well from MY. We might see a smoke come out, and well, Leonak's holding 3 right now. I think they do want to try and pop it and get going as KMP. He'll break it straight away, but the enemy's right nearby. He won't need to run far to join this team fight. MY, they are being rather hesitant, but they seem to know exactly where they are. Ara going to move in first. KMP is going to get jumped immediately on the Abaddon. However, Remnants forward. Bob, he's going to go right onto Leonak and try to burst down the Disruptor. And they do get him with a very nice wall now. And a vacuum into an Impale. BDZ, he locked down 2 of them. Seri, he does drop. Dream Coil is used defensively to try and get KMP out of there. But the chase is on. Palos is going for the big target. And he's going to be able to get him. And that's what you love to see from Execration. The vacuum into that Impale, setting up for a great team fight.
Yeah, it's just way too much. And that's the big combination we were looking for. Just BDZ and Raging Potato working as a unit is enough to really break off what MY wants to get done. Lead goes the way of Execration. The right-click build paying off here for Amorphous. Just rips right through the Jug while he runs away. Raging Potato is looking to pick a fight with Tigger, though.
Everyone wants to pick a fight with Tigger. But he's been the kind of the tipper on MY, I'd say. He's been spamming some voice lines. He's been a little bit annoying throughout the early game, just trying to get into the minds of Execration. You love to see it. Might be in trouble though, as Bob may scout him out in just a second, but no. He does avoid that. Unfortunately, it might be Leonak instead.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
He sees them though on that new observer ward he just placed, so Leonak is going to be able to back off. It's like MY, they've lost the net worth lead for the first time this game, it feels like. It's BB. Will be able to TP out in time, and oh, a nice glimpse back. They've got Palos. They lock him down in the arena, but he got the strength morph. Still, Omni is there. Dream call out as well. They just throw everything but the kitchen sink, and it might just not be enough. He gets out anyway. They just don't have the damage, even with the Eye of Skadi on KMP.
Bob?
Yeah, I should be just fine. He's got the Ags up. He's got plenty of remnants available. He just pops his BKB, taunts a bit, makes a few kebabs, and then goes home.
Man, this Morphling's becoming an issue. They got all the spells off. They could not stop him from strength shifting, and now Tigger.
Yeah, he's been caught, and this time around, Palos is going to make very short work of him. Roshan not going to be up, still 40 seconds away, but well, they do have a 4k net worth lead, and it kind of goes back to what you said. Palos' morph has become a huge issue now. I mean, they literally used everything in that last engagement as Palos was alone, and they still couldn't kill him.
Yeah, he's just too big. He has so much HP to juggle around. He's going to have a full Satanic up next as well. And that's when things get really tough. Like the self-dispel, the added strength, the lifesteal, even up against the Skadi. Like the lifesteal is still going to be pretty impactful for him. Not as fast, but still big enough as they find a nice pick-off on Leonak as well, while clearing out that mid-tier 2. So they secure that mid-tower. Roshan is back up. Rosh number 2 with the Ag Shard is ready. If they want, they could just play for that safe objective. Although KNP's being stalked.
He is. BDZ going to keep the vision, and this will be a very nice pickup if they can get it, because he is completely alone. He will have the spin TP available, but Palos will probably have the damage to get through him, or maybe not. He's still a bit far away, and
Ooh.
I think BDZ, he went a little bit too early. Maybe just a second too early there on the stun. Nevertheless, KMP does make it out just barely.
Yeah, I was trying to think about this, Mike. I don't know if you know, because I searched the wikis and none of them tell me, but does normal punch go through spell immunity as a
Ooh.
passive, like the stun factor?
I think it does, doesn't it? I can't remember
that-
now. I've used it quite a few times. Jeez, I can't remember.
Because if it does, that's an easy way to just stop the Jug from TPing home. Like, that's going to be the free Ag Shard on the Roche. You can just hand it to Raging. He's got the Blink, and I love the interaction of the normal punch with Blink. You take a few steps, blink forward, it's the max normal punch. So, pretty good if they want to give that out. The Roshan is scouted out by our Enchantress here, and MY are smoked up. They still want to force the fight out. They've got all their spells ready. If they catch Execration out, they could easily transition the Roche and kind of turn this game a bit.
And why? They've smoked up as well, but it's going to wear off. Well, Palos is getting close to a Satanic now. You know, one of the really lovely things about the Satanic these days is that Dispel that you get once you activate it. Seems even more important than the Lifesteal these days. Just a very, very strong mechanic to have with that itemization, and you're not really going to have so much of the same with KMP. And naturally, he does have Spin, which basically does an even better job. Still, Palos now does have it officially up, and he's going to start the Roshan with a Daedalus doing 1.1k crits. BB's jumped in though. Arena is down, Static Storm is there. He's not strength morphing, but he's out of the arena. He got out of the arena. How did that happen?
What?
He just got out of there. He wasn't even moving. He was stunned up. Bob, he's gone to work now. Seri's down as well as Leonak. Raging, vacuums out. BB has been caught. There's your super punch as well, or rather normal. And now BB, as the Roshan goes, he cannot orb away. It was on cooldown? Or? No, it wasn't. He just orbed.
Yeah, no, that's a bit strange, but MY, not quite the way they wanted to do that. I think they wanted to take the fight before the Roche. They did manage to catch out the Morph again, but it's only the Morphling, and they can't kill him off. Like, they have to kill someone else. Maybe kill off Raging first, maybe somehow catch out Bob. Bob's just been allowed to zip around and do what he wants, and they're going to face the high ground without their teamfight spells. No Omni Slash for 85. Arena not going to be up on the respawn. You will have Dream Coil up. So maybe if you stall for like 20 seconds with a Fortify here, you might be able to save your racks, but looks like Palos is just going to get that done. Take at least one set of racks here. And MY kind of backs against the wall now. 13k deficit. Execration just looking so strong in that Morphling. And I don't know what they can do here.
Palos gonna just try and go in. Spear away is gonna save the life of Tigger, but Bob's not done yet. He'll keep moving forward. Meanwhile, Palos, a man of business, will continue for the secondary racks. Does go after that top lane of barracks. However, Bob glimpsed back. Not going to be locked down, however. He will remnant out. Static Storm not going to be dropped. He had the BKB anyway. And now Palos not going to get to work. Raging, a nice vacuum at the Impale. Off the mark. Is now Raging. Is going to die. They still got the top racks. Dream Coil down. Do they actually have the damage though? BB, he's just gonna die. The Spy Carapace is there. Tigger is gonna die at a boot. They're just gonna dive them now. Leonak, he's gone as well. And KMP, he went back in with the spin. Palos, waveform up in a bit. BDZ looking for the Impale. Doesn't even need it. They'll just get the Yule Scepter up. KMP's gone. Is there a buyback? He does have one, but they might just force him to go for tier 4s as BDZ. He drops the Talentless on them. Oh, just ruthless from BDZ.
Oh man, that was just devastating for MY in that last fight. BB came in on the puck. His Aeon just popped randomly. He didn't get hit. He didn't get anything. It just popped when he came in the middle from some splash damage from something, and then he just got chain stunned after. He didn't get out in time and just fell flat from there. Execration, They play spectacularly well. They set their win condition on Palos this time. He managed to farm up in the Morphling. Bob was off to a slower start. MY did manage to get some great rotations down mid to slow down Bob just a bit, but they couldn't do enough to stop Palos, and they went for this build up in Kanumpang to go for the Battle Fury to try to stall for towards the late game. And they hit that point that the Jug just didn't measure up to the Morphling. Like, the uptime of Morph is a lot better. Morphling's just a better big core to play with as well. And MY just fall flat. So props to Execration for playing really well, taking it 2-0. They do get to move on to group stage. Unfortunately for MY, that's the end of their journey here in the LootBet Pro Series 7.
Absolutely. With that, we are going to head to a short 10 to 15 minute break, and right after that break, of course, we are going to be back with our second series of the night, and I believe it is going to be Team D versing the side of OB Neon. Of course, it's OB Neon. A very exciting matchup, a bit of a return. We've seen this one before, and last time Team D did take it out against OB Neon, knocking them down to where they are now in the lower bracket. But OB Neon, they looked pretty good in their second series of the closed qualifiers. They looked very, very solid. We'll see if Team D can do it, or whether OB Neon are going to continue this domination. We are going to head to the break now, and right after the break, we'll be back with that first game of that BO3.